There are two types of people in this world. Those who keep their toys in the box and those who unbox them. Though both of these types of people are definitely not mutually exclusive, I don't recommend trying to become both at the same time, because that can get quite expensive. In my case, I had to make a decision. As an adult, I've been a notorious in-the-box collector, but recently I've defected to the other side. The reason? Toy photography. Aside from bringing together a lot of my favorite passions, like storytelling, cinematography, and toys, it's just plain cool. But in order to do toy photography, you need, among other things, toys. To be more specific, you need toys out of the box. To be even more specific, you need toys with which you can do cool stuff. They can't just look nice encased in a box anymore. Which brings me to this video's object of scrutiny. DC Direct's classic Silver Age Superman and Lois Lane 2-pack. Released way back in 2001, this beautiful 2-pack was released by the now sadly defunct DC Direct / DC Collectibles in-house toy brand of DC Comics, which placed just as much attention on the presentation as it did on the actual toy. If there was ever a toy to keep in the box, this is it. And yet, though definitely pretty to look at, how do they function as actual toys? How much range will they have for toy photography? Should I have just kept them in the box and waited to sell them on eBay one day for $1 million? I guess there's really only one way to find out. My knowledge of Silver Age comics is in no way scholarly. In fact, I was once denied access to a Silver Age group on Facebook because I couldn't answer some of their membership questions. I'm not sure if that says more about them than it does about me, but I'll definitely say this. It's really my abiding affection for the art from this period, in particular the cover art, that inspired me to base my first toy review on a Silver Age action figure. Not only do I believe that Silver Age art happens to be the best that the medium has ever produced, it might be some of the best pop art period, and I have a hunch that it will translate well to toy photography. In practical terms alone, the simplicity of the elements at play here is encouraging. The backgrounds, for example, are bright and airy and shouldn't be too complicated to reproduce. And speaking of the backgrounds, similar to Golden Age cover art, the use of primary colors here provides a bold graphic design element that I find deeply appealing. Scenarios themselves are definitely busy with activity, which might become an issue. You don't want your dioramas getting too elaborate, but the use of props is sparse, and the action is simple. I mean, it shouldn't be anything that even a 20-year-old action figure shouldn't be able to handle, right? Even by contemporary standards, the action depicted in most Silver Age art, though inventive, is pretty tame. The characters aren't contorted into poses that normal human bodies can never hope to achieve, and for that reason alone, I think our Silver Age Superman and Lois Lane are going to fit the bill nicely. Right out of the packaging, I can already tell that both figures are going to have just enough articulation to get the job done. Unlike Lois, Superman does come with foot articulation, but to be honest with you, the ankle looks a bit wonky. Not a deal breaker though. I also noticed something weird with the left shoulder. When you lower it, there's a bit of a gap that forms, which is something you don't get on the right arm. This just kind of annoyed me. Though both figures come with alternate hands, there's no fist hand for Superman, which I find a bit odd. This Superman is definitely a lover, not a fighter. The slash running across his throat would indicate that he has head articulation, that you should be able to move the head from side to side, but it was actually a bit hard to achieve. This being an older figure, I didn't want to press the issue in that respect. Lois, however, did just fine in that department. I do like that Superman can crane his head upward slightly, which will be good for flying poses, but doing so exposes a gaping hole right where his larynx should be, so the right angles will be necessary to hide this for photos. Lois might be a bit tricky to shoot for different reasons. For example, you're going to have to lift up her skirt and show off her gams to achieve more range with the knees, which are a bit unsightly, to be honest with you. It's probably best to keep the skirt down. She comes with bicep swivel as well, but her arms do not bend at the elbow, which I was not expecting. You're only going to get a few poses out of her due to this feature. The cloth goods skirt though is great. Lois is no damsel in distress though, whatever the era, so she can bust out with some impromptu kung fu if you need her to, and I just might have her do that. No, I'm serious. Love it or hate it, Silver Age comics score pretty high on the Bizarro meter. They're infamous for their zaniness and sometimes ridiculous stories. DC Comics in particular were known for that. And though it's unclear whether you really need to know the answer to some of the questions being posed by these covers, they do manage to hook in the reader. You look at these covers and you think, no, seriously, what the hell's going on here? Why is Superman doing that? Can he even do that? That in itself is already worth the price of admission for me. And yet, despite all the shenanigans, Silver Age comic book art can be rather elegant. Sadly, you don't see art like this too often anymore, and when you do, ironically, it's considered hip or even edgy. Another staple of Silver Age art is the use of full body shots. I'm going to need figures that stand up straight with good body posture. Truth is, I really don't need these figures to do much, but the aesthetics of the Silver Age being so particular and important to the period, I definitely need figures who look the part. At a glance, I wouldn't be able to tell you which Silver Age Superman this is, but he definitely does look Silver Agey. He has a dashing, cartoony looking head sculpt. The paint apps in general aren't perfect, in particular around the chest, but overall there's a fine attention to detail here. Superman's upper body also seems larger than his lower body. He has surprisingly long arms and broad shoulders, almost like a swimmer's body. I assume that the long arms are for cradling Lois. Lois herself is looking quite lovely. I love the paint apps on her face. The retro hairdo would place her on the earlier scale of the Silver Age, which is an aesthetic that I prefer, actually. This being a deluxe set, it does come with some nice added accessories, which you need to keep your eye on, because you can easily lose them before you even get the toys out of the box. These toys are definitely not meant for kids, they're for adults, which is why I'm using my Star Wars lunch pail to keep all my accessories in one place. A few of the accessories that will definitely come in handy for photos are the two modes of cape for Superman, flying and not flying. Superman also comes with a translucent wire that you can slip into a little hook in his back. You can then use the wire to hang Superman from an appropriate place. This is a nice little feature that should definitely come in handy for photos. So, though I wasn't sure what to expect by taking these 20-year-old action figures out of the box, I'm happy to report that I didn't encounter any major mechanical issues with them that would impede them from doing what I need them to do. On the contrary, they feel like quality. They don't feel mass produced. They have a nice hefty feel to them. They feel really solid, almost like lead. As far as price point goes, well, I got them on the secondary market. If you notice in the beginning of the video, although the box was beautiful, it wasn't exactly in mint condition, and that might be one of the reasons why I was able to get it at an affordable price. If you want to get one of these packages in mint condition, in box, it's going to run you $100 to $150. It'll probably be a better bet to get them loose. So far, I've encountered no problems buying loose figures from this period. These beautiful earlier DC Direct action figures, the people who owned these action figures were clearly collectors and took care of their toys. And for that, I'm grateful. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you stick around to see how it all turns out.